September the 2nd, 2025 at the Board of Education Conference Room order. One member is absent. That's Mr. Gibson. Everybody else is present. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and justice for all.
Delegation. We don't have any. Recognitions. You don't have none. School improvement updates. A is update special education professional development and deadlines to address monitoring. B is update on Pocahontas County High School state of emergency. And that's all we have on. Go ahead.
Okay,
Dr.
so
Williams.
do you mind pulling that up, Christie? Oh, I printed these off. Did I not print these off already? No. Okay, so I wanted to give you a little bit of update from the monitoring debrief that we did with our staff on August the 21st, and then tell you where we are in addressing our state of emergency issues. So I just think it's good to have an overview, look at statewide compliance numbers and compare those to Pocahontas County schools. So for the school year 2024, 17 LEAs were monitored as part of the cyclical monitoring during the 24-25 school year. 3 service verifications were completed at each elementary, and a service verification just means that they're pulling an IEP and reviewing the services that are in that portion of the IEP. At each 3 service verifications occurred at the elementary, the middle, and the high school for a total of 9 service verifications per LEA. Last year, 155 random individual student files were reviewed to verify services statewide. Compliance versus non-compliance when they do a monitoring. So compliance means a student and service provider schedules logs match the specially designed services in the IEP. Non-compliance means that those two things did not match. The services that were in the IEP did not match the service logs. So statewide, non-compliance was 44%. So 68 of 155 files pulled, 44% of those were in non-compliance statewide, to give you a baseline. So 56%, 87 of the 155 were in compliance statewide. So state minimums and maximums. A minimum is the lowest value in a data set, so 0 out of 9. The maximum is 9 out of 9. So you kind of get how it looks. And that's where we're talking about those 3 files that were pulled at each programmatic level when they did a monitoring. In Pocahontas County schools, all 5 schools were monitored during the April 2025 special circumstance monitoring of our special education programs. 18 service verifications were completed in April, 4 at Green Bank, 4 at Hillsborough, 4 at Marlington for a total of 12, 3 at Marlington Middle, and 3 at Pocahontas County High School. So that means they pulled 18 files to look at services in those files and make sure we were compliant according to the law. So non-compliance in our files was 89%. Compliance. So 16 out of 18 was not in compliance and 12 out of 18 were in compliance for our special ed review. Next. So steps to take if the services does not verify. So this is what we have to do when services are not verified. The simplest fix and the things that we found, or that they found, are to adjust the teacher schedules to align with the IEP minutes. So let me give a little more detail about that. We were providing services 4 days a week. 1 day a week our teachers had free, and they were doing IEP task. So we weren't meeting the services in our IEPs due to that fact, due to that one planning day, so that's why we have to adjust schedules. But in addition to that, earlier in the year, when I presented here, I told you that we had a problem with chronic absenteeism. When you drill down to the subgroups, on the days that we did not offer services, those are the days that we had the highest chronic absenteeism with our special ed group of students. So they just weren't coming to school. So that's one of the issues that we have with chronic attendance. So what else can we do? We can do an IEP amendment, which is an agreement for changes between the parents and the IEP team and the school team. That's how we change the teacher schedules in the minutes. Documentation, the LEA must document the changes made to the IEP or the IEP amendment form, which is called prior written notice, and provide a copy to the parent and the adult students. An annual review date remains the date of the original IEP. So when you do an amendment to the IEP, it's a targeted review. And unless you're evaluating everything, but if we're just changing a small portion, that means we can do an IEP amendment. Okay. So targeted IEP reviews. We have a targeted IEP review may be conducted when only one portion of the IEP, which is what I just explained. Example, reviewing only the behavior or the present levels of performance, goals, behavior plans of the IEP also addresses academic areas. So an annual review date, which means conducting a targeted IEP meeting, does not change the annual review date meeting. So just to be clear, if we do an amendment and we do these targeted reviews, we still have to do the annual IEP meeting. So you have to do two. Next. This is it. There should be one more slide. There should be more slides. So general FAL reviews, the top 10 findings for Pocahontas County Schools. I want to be as transparent as possible on what we have to work on and why we have to work on it. So we had some system-wide findings, and they're called systemic findings. All items scoring below 80% is considered a finding. So we looked at, in order to correct those, we have to amend some IEPs, reconvene eligibility committee meetings, issue memorandums and or clarification, conduct staff trainings, and provide mentoring. The staff trainings was phase 1 of our plan that we have implemented. So if we look at addressing systemic findings below 80% prior to the West Virginia verification, we have some areas that we have to address next. So here's where we are. These are the areas, and this is the percent compliant that we had. So we have the top 10 areas. We are top 2. We have 0% of our files compliant. The next one, prior written notice, and prior written notice means you have to send out a notice to parents that you're either changing the IEP or having the IEP 8 days prior written notice is what it's called. So only 33% of the prior written notices that were sent out met that deadline. They were not within the 8 days. Evaluation procedures, we only had 33%. Placement, 40%. Annual goals, specifically designed instruction for student performance, we were only 46% compliant there. Supplementary services, 46% compliant. And I've kind of talked to Sarah about supplementary services and billing for Medicaid. We submitted 1 claim last year. We can support our program with more services claims, which is a lot of money. Yes, only 1 claim was supported. So as we beef up those services and get them, we can get reimbursed for those services. And we started that process with our consultant. Present levels, the impact statements, we were 67% compliant. Special education services, 73% compliant. And then SMART goals that are measurable with 2 periods in time, beginning and ends, and that's based on your present performance levels and your data. Those were not, we were only 76%. IEP amendments, we were 60% compliant. Prior written notice, 78%. Initial placement with parent consent, I showed you that where we had the initial placement, we didn't have signatures, 62%. ESY services, 77, supplemental services, 78, and reasons for meeting invited members, 78. Then we start getting compliant in the last 4 areas. We didn't have any findings, and then we were over 80%. Is that the same slide again? So statewide, this lets you know what the statewide was. So you can see where the state fell and where we fell. The top 2, we had 0. So they were a little out. So there's some areas that is an issue statewide when they reviewed the other IEPs. So it's something that needs to be tightened up on. So administrative findings, and what this means in administrative findings, this means findings that originated, or involved the county office administrative oversight of the IEP process. So administrative findings, a formal determination that a policy, regulation, or law or standard has not been followed. So that's what meets that. And when you have one of those findings, you have to have a corrective action. So we had 4 administrative findings, which means they were pervasive and systematic at every school and at the county level. So those were instructional groupings, a certification and caseloads, which we'll talk a little bit about that as we go through, and then our cameras, and it originated with a state of emergency at the high school that they had not been reviewing the cameras or did not have access to the self-contained cameras. Second, they came back again, didn't have access to the self-contained cameras. Continued, so that is something that I've worked really diligently on and assigned to Jimmy to work on as we move through. Go back. Is this the next slide after that one? Okay, next one. So administrative findings are functional behavior assessments. Those were not being completed. And I understand we don't have a behavioral specialist, but if you don't have that, your psychologist can complete those. So our psychologist can complete those. And then after we did or didn't do the assessment, when we were suspending students with disabilities, we didn't have a countywide pervasive method of behavior intervention plans. We didn't do those, basically, and we don't have this form, so we're going to work on developing those. Continuum of services, we had limited services delivery options, and what that means is we had either all kids were served in GEE, general education, or all kids were served in a self-contained room. But if we had kids that needed SEE and a course for that, we weren't providing those in some situations. Predetermination, we had IEPs that were fully written and taken into the IEP meetings, or we had IEPs that were written at the county level and given to the schools. So teacher duties versus case management duties was the next thing that we're going to talk about. So if we look down through here, administrative findings, school-wide concerns, grade level instruction, we had several classrooms, or we had classrooms in every school, a classroom at least in every school that was not providing instruction that was based on the grade level standards and expectations, skills and expectations for that grade level. General education teachers reported that their input was overlooked at times. The least restrictive environment, special ed students are being grouped together. Same content, same class, and one lesson being delivered. So let's say it's math, English, science, social studies, they got a lesson in social studies or science. So groupings were not really consistent or according to law. A positive behavior intervention and supports, we have to work on that countywide, which explains our afternoon. I don't know if any of you stayed for the afternoon session, but our morning session and our opening of school, Larry Bell, was about relationships. And he was about relationships and having high expectations. The afternoon person was about the psychology and the sociology of the learner. It talked about generational understandings and how we work with different generations to establish positive behavior intervention systems that can teach students procedures and protocols for learning. So tailored to each finding, we have corrective actions. I'm not gonna go over all that tonight because it's a lot of corrective actions. The schools and the special education teachers are aware of what their corrective actions are. Timelines for submission. Originally, our timeline to have everything completed and done was October 3rd. But I did email the state and I asked after the state board meeting if we could have an extension on that because I did not feel that it was reasonable for us to get all those things that we see that we need to work on done by October 3rd. So we have an extension till December 3rd to get our documents uploaded that we have corrected those findings. So an example of a corrective action might be conducting a targeted Office of Special Education training on-site or virtual. We did that pervasively. I trained all the principals. I trained all of the teachers, and then I trained all the special education teachers. So we went from small group to a large group to small group. And here's what that does. That's a system-wide reset. We can't dwell on the past, but we can move forward in a very positive, united fashion because together we're stronger. And together we all know the correct process and we're going to work on it together. So, initial corrections by December 3rd, all corrections has to be verified by July 12th, 2026. And we are lucky in the essence that we get to prove how great we've done because we get monitored again next year. And we're going to be the best in the state next year. I'm confident that we are going to pull together and we are just going to rise to the top. The cream rises to the top, and I feel like we're going to do this. I know that we can. Next, Christy. So that's the end of that. So one of the systemic issues that I had to do, and this does not need approval or anything, it's just for your FYI, is we had to redo our special education teacher job, that both of us are together for one.
Oh.
One's.
Together.
They're one.
They're two together.
We had to review, I had to review our job postings. Some of our job postings are outdated, as you may be aware. So this is the new special education job posting that we will be using moving forward. I will send this on up to the state and get their approval for it because it is part of our finding that we had to make sure that we covered everything that we need to cover in the job posting. And all of our job postings could use a little bit of updates. So with that stated, I wanted to give you time to hear what our deficiencies were, know that we're working diligently on them and that we're a team approach, and ask if you have any questions from me or anything that I can provide you an answer to as a group.
Dr. Hollingsworth, this is your cup of tea. You have any questions?
Removed from it for a while, but, what is the FLSA status?
That is part of, it's got to do with federal. It's exempt from federal something,
Okay,
but we have to have that on there. We have to have it
oh, we
on.
just have it on there.
Yes, it doesn't, it means that we're
Okay.
posted in a certain way.
My biggest question is, and now there's two reasons. First, that whole idea of special ed teachers getting that extra day was so that none of this garbage happened.
That's correct.
Second, now turns out that attendance is a problem on those days when, and I know the teachers complained because they felt like they were dumped on because we've got 6 kids in the classroom that need special ed, and one day a week, they're all there. Now, I know at the middle school and high school, they're probably not all there, but they are at the elementary schools. And so that's a problem. So we really need to eliminate that.
We have, and that was one of our recommendations, that had to be eliminated. And one of the first things that we have to turn in is the school-wide schedule and the schedule for each of our special education teachers. I have asked them to have those ready for me by October 3rd to upload. And then each school has to turn in comprehensively a week's worth of lesson plan of every single teacher in the building to the state to review, to make sure that the lesson plans and the schedules were all jiving. So I did not want to ask teachers to give me that as soon as they get to school, because we do have this procedures and routine things that we have to teach to make sure that our students are ready to learn. But we will do our first upload on October 3rd, which will include all the trainings, all the schedules, and the lesson plans. That'll be a big tool for us.
I think all of our schools have been really lax with lesson plans.
Well, now they have to turn in a week's worth of lesson. That's in our.
That
I think the teachers
Those are
will,
the old days.
That was standard procedure forever.
And we do have plan books for some of our schools. I think that was purchased, so if they're using plan book, it should be easy to download those and submit them.
I think the teachers will welcome it with open arms, because when you was going through that list, I was thinking, teachers was complaining to me about, we was doing that and it was wrong,
Mhm.
but they still do it anyway.
Yeah.
So I think you get real positive, teachers be positive in receiving this.
I'm gonna tell you, our staff has been second to none. They have absolutely been, gone above and beyond with their positive attitudes and to work with, so I think you're right, and I have not had teachers say anything at all, so I want you to know they are all working really hard. I feel good about that. Matt,
Any other questions?
comments?
I did like, I liked the training up there the other day. I went to the training. Bill was real good. I liked it. And I was gonna do it under matters of board, but I want to thank you for bringing those speakers in. And I was also up there for the opening day and it was excellent. And I saw a lot of people, a lot of the teachers and everybody. It was a positive thing for everybody. I didn't see any negativity. So it was good.
They were more engaged than I've
Yes.
seen them in a lot of years.
That's what I was gonna say. They was engaged. And, the one thing the state told us is we had good educators.
Mhm.
They
Absolutely.
said, your educators is excellent.
That's not the problem.
That's not the problem. Well, thank you for all the hard work you've done on this. And
Yeah.
I hope by December the 3rd, we'll be in compliance with everything.
We will. I feel confident. We will. I'm gonna tell you that, I feel like this is not things we cannot correct. I feel like they are doable and we have the time to do them. They granted us that. I think we're gonna get them done.
I don't want to go back to the state and have them to. Me and Dr. Hollingsworth, you, Dr. Williamson.
I was a little bit shook.
I hope they're nice to us. Okay, updates on Pocahontas County High School state of emergency.
Yes, I just wanted to, Ms. Klein is still working diligently with Pocahontas County High School to make sure that they are meeting all the compliance indicators for their state of emergency. So I did want to provide you with the latest checklist that they are working on and let you know what deadlines are coming up, so we can keep moving forward and get this school independent. So if you go to page 4 of 7, we have a list there that had to be completed before August 28th, I'm sorry. And I would like to thank Ms. Dunlap. She was critical in some of this. She read the student handbooks and she read the faculty handbooks and made sure code was being followed in that. She took a great load off of my plate. So thank you, Ms. Dunlap, for all of your help and assistance. I really appreciate it. So we have that, and then we can see the next thing is school culture, tone, and climate. the maintenance projects. If you have not been up to the high school, I think it looks beautiful up there. The special education room, we got pictures of that today. Mr. Gibson has had to work like a dog, but he's loved every minute of it, right? Mr. Gibson? He's loved every minute of it. The bathrooms look phenomenal. I really think it sets a tone for the kids. Hey, we care about your environment. We care about what it looks like. With the gym floors being installed, we did have the gym painted. I know it cost a little bit of money, but we have that money to spend, and that's our flagship school. It has to look beautiful, and we have to take care of it so the community that then has pride. We have to have pride first. So that's on there about the stuff, the beautification that's happened in the maintenance projects. Then we have the family open and school orientation. That's planned 4:30 to 6:30 at the high school. And if we move down, we have some student achievement. We've also started a new attendance policy up there, a process that they're going to be implementing. Tomorrow, Miss Shipwood will be there, Miss Hill will be there, Miss Klein will be there. It'll be all hands on deck to support the high school and make sure that they have one of the best openings they've had in years. And then I will be there later in the morning, because they're my people and I'm there for my people. So I will be there tomorrow for my people. I'm just gonna let you take a second. Professional development. We have those students, special ed services. We're looking at those and reviewing those. We have had to have, because we have a high school that has a certain number of special education students, and we're a small high school, it's hard to support all that. So the law does allow for waivers in some of those classes. For example, if you have 5 kids in a class and 3 of them have IEPs, you might be out of compliance. But there's a whole bunch of different calculations that goes into that. So we're looking at that schedule, we're making sure we're compliant, and we're applying for the waivers that we need when we do so. Additional items, I want to go to the last page, 7 of 7, attendance taking. This is what I was talking to you about. Ms. Klein works with Ms. Campbell and developed that. The procedures, party protocols, expectations and process for all the discrepancies on the attendance list, classroom restroom breaks for protocols. Now that we have these beautiful bathrooms, we want to keep them beautiful. We don't want anything going wrong or defacing of school property. Full coverage for the duty schedule. We've got that all worked out. One of the things that I am really big on is relationships. I feel every student should be greeted as they're coming into the school. I feel like we should have an exit process. I've asked all of our principals, not just the principals at the high school. Soon as the kids are in class and more, you need to do a round. Check on each of your classrooms. After lunch, you need to do a round. Check on each of your classrooms. And before the end of the day, you need to do a round. What are you looking for? You're looking at people are where they're supposed to be, when they're supposed to be, doing what they're supposed to be. That's just the basics of leadership. And I've asked them to start doing that, and I think that'll work out fine. That's kind of it for an update, just a quick summary of that. Are there any questions about the high school status and what we're doing with that? Or any comments or any concerns?
I've got a comment, especially, this goes out to the public, a lot of it to the public. Because I've been asked several times, well, why are you doing this up there? Why are you doing that? Well, the state's telling us they found this. We have to do this. Okay. And like Dr. Williams said, we're wanting to try to get the public back into believing in us and believing in the school system that we have here. And it is a good system. We're going to get it fixed and we're going to put it in the right direction. But we need everybody's support. I mean, we need the county, we need the students, we need the community, we need everybody. Because it's our school. It's all of us.
It is, absolutely. And I would like to add on to that. Yes, there are things the state is telling us to do, but some of these things are just the right thing to do.
Yeah.
We need to do them just because we believe in doing them, not just because the state told us, but because they're right for our kids. And we love our kids. We want the best for our kids.
And there's a lot of work been done, a lot.
Yes, there is. those, everybody at the high school is
And
working.
then a lot of that goes back to Miss Klein.
Yes.
Miss Klein's she's doing a wonderful job.
She's a blessing.
I don't know if she's
She's
on
blessed.
there tonight or, I don't know if she's on there tonight or not.
No, but she's been a real blessing to Pocahontas County.
And she's my mentor.
Yeah, for the new one.
That's great.
Yeah.
She was superintendent of Wyoming County
Mhm.
for years, and we got her to come in here as a kind of an advisor, counselor type role. What's her?
She's West Virginia, the West Virginia Department of Education support.
Yes, and she's done a great job for us. She really has. Any other questions for Dr. Williams?
How are we doing on the gym floor? I know what I asked. I asked her.
Started putting it down today.
Did they? Great.
They was the first, I mean, they moved everything in last Thursday and Friday, got it in the gym and started to acclimate, and they're starting the substrate. It'll be probably a couple of weeks before they start putting down the actual flooring. So
They got room to put all that stuff in there? I mean, I was up there when they unloaded it, man.
It's stacked in there, they got it.
Okay,
There's a pile of stuff there.
yeah.
It was a bunch.
It was.
That was a good day for it to show up.
Yeah.
Everything else-
Yeah, all of us was there. It was a great day. Dwayne, you done good. You had that all planned out. He had it all planned out. All of us was there and they show up with the flooring and, that's planning. I'm proud of you. All right, item number 6 is consent agenda. Item A is approval of minutes from July the 29th, 2025 special meeting. B, approval of the agenda. C, payment of bills subject to addition, deletion, and other charges prior to the board meeting. Payment of vendor listing of $101,181.81. Payment of local government purchasing card, $14,196.79. August 5th, 2025 employee payroll, $255,835.68. Extra duty pay, August 2025 was $25,349.97. Grant awards, budget adjustments, and D, budget transfers and supplements, subject to additions, deletions, or other changes prior to the board meeting. Do I have a motion? Mr. McCombs made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Dr. Hollingsworth seconded. We're gonna take these one at a time. Approval of the minutes from July 29th, 2025 special meeting. Do I have any questions or?
We'll do them one at a time. Vote on them one time, I guess.
Okay. B, approval of the agenda. Any additions or corrections to the agenda?
Yes. On number 8, under October calendar, we're gonna strike that out. I just don't have that ready tonight.
Okay.
And then on number, superintendent's, not that one. If we go to new business, E, permission to post an extra duty contract for supervisor of counseling services. We're gonna strike that one out, E.
County D,
E,
E. We're gonna strike that out.
yes,
Okay.
that's it.
All righty. C, payment of bills. Anybody have any questions on the bills or grant awards or the adjustments? And D, budget transfers and several subject to additions, deletions, or other changes prior to the board meeting. Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Ah,
Motion carries. Number 7 is personnel agenda. Do I have a motion? Then moved. Mr. McCombs made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Dr. Hollingsworth, second. Holly, you gonna read the personnel agenda?
Bill Bullen for September the 2nd, 2025. Resignation of Peggy Owens from the 5th grade position at Wallington Elementary School effective August the 1st, 2025. Approval of a mutual agreement from Melissa Hill. Removed due to changing enrollment was one of the teachers of 4th grade at Greenbank Elementary and Middle School. Dr. Rhonda Combs, Director of Personnel Technology and Student Services for the Central Office. She has completed that successful background and will be coming on board soon. Cassandra Griffith, teacher of 5th grade, Washington Elementary School, coming from the Duke Stevens position at Pocahontas County High School. The resignation of Melissa Robinson, employment of Emma Dean, teacher of multi-subjects, Marlington Middle School, effective with the start of the new school year. Those are all of the positions in the professional realm that will be filled. We are knocking those down little by little. Service recommendations, employment of Caleb Barkley as extra summer custodian, effective August the 7th, 2025 through August the 27th, 2025, assignment by the maintenance director. Requested transfer was from Lori Wayne. The employment of Michaela Malcolm as the secretary to accountant to at Greenbank Elementary Middle School. That's effective for the 25-26 school year. Employment of Jennifer Yoakum, special education classroom bus aide at Pocahontas County High School. She'll be replacing Lisa Johnson. And Cassandra Smith is the accounts payable here at the central office, and she's already started her position. As of tonight, all of our service positions are filled. Employment of Logan Weimer as assistant football coach for the middle school. Employment of Owen Vogelsong as the $1 assistant soccer coach for the 25-26 athletic season. We have the following substitute teachers that have gotten their certifications through for the 25-26 school year: Shannon Arbogast, Dawn Brewster, and Jeanette Rittenhouse. And then we have amended for Tessa Gum for unpaid mental leave at Greenbank Elementary Middle with an amended start date for effective September the 11th, 2025, for a period of up to 12 weeks.
Huh?
We have an executive session.
We don't unless you want one.
I would like one
Okay, on what?
personnel.
Okay.
Should you
Dr.
make a motion?
Dr. Hollingsworth has requested a executive session on personnel.
Hopefully a short one.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. McNabb seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Motion carries. We'll go into executive session at 6:37. And she says it's going to be short, so it shouldn't be but a minute. Dr. Hollingsworth made the motion.
I'll second.
Mr. McNabb second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We come out of the executive session at 6:46. That was a quick one.
Told you.
Yeah, didn't take long, did it? Okay, personnel matters. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Superintendent's report, a quarterly meeting with Central Faculty Senate presidents to build culture, climate, and communication with schools. And that's you.
That's me. So I met with the faculty senate presidents before school started and talked to them about the things that we need according to code. We need somebody for the safety team that Mr. Gibson will be overseeing. We need the LSICs to be up and running and functioning properly. And we need somebody for the countywide curriculum development. I'm looking at Mr. Hubble, make sure those are the three things I asked for. Yeah, a strategic plan member as well. So my goal is to have quarterly meetings with all the faculty senate presidents to establish that open line of communication between the schools and the superintendent. So what I have asked them to think about moving forward is that I want a glow, something they're proud of that they're doing at the school, so we can recognize that on the board agenda and tell the board about the great things that's happening in your school. A grow, something that they're working on to improve their school and what they've done. And if there are any additional supports or resources that we need to provide them to make them successful and overcome that barrier. So it's just a problem-solving model that I'm implementing. So before they have their faculty senate meeting or after they have their faculty senate meeting, we will meet and make sure that we're working together. Again, with the theme, we're stronger together.
Okay. Old business. A is the decision, review and possible action on policy 5136, personal electronic devices. B, discussion, review and possible action on policy 7540.04, staff AUP policy. C, update on pre-K grade parent dropout and drop off and pickup procedures. Minimum age added. D is discussion, review, and approval of the JROTC application. E, approval of amendments to the SBA to include painting of the gymnasium. F is discussion and approval of amendments to Stephanie Burns mutual agreement. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Combs made a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. McNabb seconded. Starting off with A, you want to explain that 5136 personnel electronic devices a little bit? Is that telephones and stuff the kids is going to
Yes,
take
this
their
is
own?
there's state law regarding this, and I just kind of wanted to review and outline the elements of our policy that is out on review, which I believe if it's passed today, then that would be something that we will be implementing. So, all personal electronic devices as used in this policy are defined in the bylaws of 0100. All personal electronic devices shall not be accessible to students for use in classroom settings during instructional time, with the exception of exemptions set forth in this policy. And this is a state law. Everybody has to have this in place for their schools. Instructional period is defined as the time from the start of the first instructional period to the end of the last instructional period, including transitions between classes. And students are permitted to have PEDs on school property. So that, what this means is they have them, they're turned off, they're either in their locker or in their backpack. They never have them out, except for when the exemptions occur. So exemptions, documented medical reason. The county board may include permission to use PDF if the student uses and approved for work-based programs. So that means if they're out in a work-based program sponsored by the school system, they can have their personal electronic device. Students may have their personal electronic device when taking an online course. Sometimes your online courses has that multi-factor authentication when they send a text to your cell phones, so they would probably need it for that purpose. Students involved in extracurricular activities after school, after school is dismissed, they'll have their phones on a silent or vibrate, and the coach will monitor that. So they should not have them out at that unless they have coach's permission and they are, so they can contact their parents. And then students may use cell phones while riding to and from school, or in another board approved vehicle, as long as there's not distracting behavior. So violations. If students bring their personal electronic device to school, what does our policy say how we will deal with this? And then Neola had a recommended progressive scale. So disciplinary action and confiscation of the PED, personal electronic device. Building principal will refer matter to law enforcement or child services if the violation involves illegal activity. Discipline will be imposed on an escalating scale. If the PDE, personal electronic device, is confiscated, it will be returned after the parent or guardian and the student complies with any disciplinary consequences that are imposed unless the violation involves potentially illegal activities, such as any pornography or any kind of bullying or anything like that that needs research. Funds will be marked by the principal in a removable manner with the student's name when they're confiscated. So, violations. Use of a PDA for the purpose of academic dishonesty, recording altercations, or unethical or immoral behavior shall, and that means you have to, shall means you have to, carry additional violations at the discretion of the principal, and that will be in accordance with policy 4373. So all violations have to be documented in WEVIS. Violations of the policy will include progressive penalties as follows. So the first offense, the device will be confiscated and returned to the student after following a conference with the teacher, principal, and parent notification, and that should be a notification by phone. The student can get it back at the end of the day. Second, offense with the PDA, the personal electronic device will be confiscated and returned to the parent, not the student. The parent will have to come in and get the cell phone or smartwatch or whatever it is that the personal electronic device. The student will be assigned appropriate discipline as defined in the school's discipline matrix for habitual violation of rules. Because if you know not to do it, you do it, and then the second time you do it, then you're habitually violating the rules, and it should be dealt with accordingly to policy 4373. General refusal to surrender a personal electronic device to a teacher or administrator pursuit of this policy constitutes insubordination. It is not, our staff should not have to put up with being defied, cursed at, or any retaliation because they are following the policy. So they will be, the progressive discipline will be done according to policy 4373. So what comments did we get? So when we first put the comments out, we didn't have name on. I feel if you're going to make a comment, if you make a comment on the state board policy, you have to put your name in, right? So our first comments were anonymous, no name. But these were the comments. I think a PDA should be allowed. A PED should be allowed. I believe that the policy should be left for teachers to decide. Inconsistency, that's not what the law says. I find that personal devices such as cell phones should be allowed in classrooms as long as they don't become a huge issue. We should be able to have them for personal use and even educational use. Allow them. Teachers use them for more than educational. That's all it said. And option B, I don't even know what option B was. I couldn't find it. But nonetheless, those were the comments. None of those comments can we really use because they don't go along with the law. This is a law that was passed that we have to have. So I'll stop on that policy to see if there's any questions or comments or concerns about that policy.
Now, are the students, are they gonna have to sign an agreement for this, or if we put it in policy, that means everybody should know it? I mean,
Everybody should know it and the principals will go over.
because I guarantee you, we're gonna get calls, well, I didn't know that, I didn't know that. But Okay.
Yes, the principals will review that at their opening meeting. Any other comments?
We're gonna get calls now.
Oh, yeah. The only other thing that I got a
It's a
question,
topic across the state of West
Oh,
Virginia.
I've seen
It's
that.
not just here.
the only other one that I got a question of, that I can see coming up is like, on the bus to ball games or any kind of activities.
They're allowed to have it on the bus and the bus driver regulates it or the coach.
Both driver or the coach. Okay.
Yeah.
So everybody should know that.
The bus driver can make an announcement on the bus, the students should be able to hear them. So if there are earbuds in both ears and they're cranked up real loud, they can only have an earbud in one ear.
Most bus drivers would like to see them do that.
Now, all the drivers this year, no Bluetooth speakers on the buses, because the kids would bring those on and start cranking.
No.
Oh, yeah.
And it's absolutely.
No.
They don't need them.
And that would fall under personal electronic devices.
Yes.
Okay. That's all I've got.
We're gonna get calls.
Oh, yeah.
You know, about the first time we take somebody's phone, we're gonna hear about it. But, you know, that's
But there's-
like state policy.
They know.
Why?
It's state policy.
We just have to have a policy to implement the state law.
And really, let's think about this for a second. They're in school to learn,
Yes,
you know,
yes.
Play on their phone.
not to play on phones.
We got along all right.
I didn't have cell phones, never. I went to school.
Not me either.
We had to send smoke signals.
What was that?
Yeah. They didn't have computers in classrooms either.
Do you,
No, I don't.
do you want to go over the next one?
Yes, please.
Okay, so the
Move
next one is the staff technology acceptable use and safety policy, which is also required by law for opening school for the staff. So this presentation is not all inclusive of everything that's in the policy, but it's the highlights of the policy of things I just thought I should pull out. We already have this policy, by
I
the way.
was gonna say.
We're just tweaking it to match the new state law. So unlike the past, the board may not be able to technologically limit access to only those services and resources that have been authorized for the purpose of instruction or for study or for related curriculum. In the past, before we opened YouTube and all that stuff up, you had to send a request to the West Virginia Board of Education. They approved it, and that's the only way you could get those things. Filtering has opened up. That's a local decision. So we put some filtering on there, but we do not make teachers get approval to use websites. So this is saying, hey, you're a professional. We've opened this up, follow the rules, basically. Refrain from actions that are illegal, liable, slanderous, vandalism, harassment, theft, plagiarism, inappropriate access, and or unkind, such as personal attacks, invasion of privacy, injurious comments, and the like. So that's what the policy says, that, don't do these things. It's not nice. And if you do, there's going to be a problem. Users have no right to expect privacy when using the county internet or county technology device. It's given to users for instructional use. So if you do anything nefarious or inappropriate on your technology provided device using E-rate provided internet, you should not assume privacy, because everything is monitored through our filtering system. And if you have a violation, then it will be addressed according to policy or law in some cases. The use of electronic resources, technology, and internet must support education and be consistent with the educational objectives and priorities of the West Virginia Board of Education. Use of the network and computing resources must comply with rules appropriate to the network and copyright compliance. I think that copyright compliance is the thing that most educators are in violation of, but we have to follow copyright rules. So page 4, building level principals are responsible for providing trainers so that internet users under their supervision are knowledgeable about this policy and its accompanying guidelines. And we've provided Ms. Hammond's provided all of our educators, our teachers, our principals with training on this so that they are prepared to do this with their staff. Training shall include, but not be limited to, topics of appropriate online behavior, interaction on social media, such as don't be in a chat room with students. Don't be cyberbullying each other, and cyberbullying awareness and how to respond to cyberbullying.
Dr. Weeds, I believe you guys put that on vector training as well, didn't you?
Yes, we did. Staff are responsible for good behavior when using county technology and information resources. Behavior comparable to that is expected when you are in the classroom with students or in a room with someone. You know, if you wouldn't say rude, obnoxious things to somebody in right now, don't do it online. It's still not appropriate. Inflammatory comments that could compromise the county's mission. And our county slogan this year is "Together we are stronger." We don't want to undermine staff relationships. We don't want to cause substantial disruption in our school or to the school environment. So there were no comments on this policy that I could elicit from the form that we put out. And that's probably because this policy existed and we were just updating. So I think we are at the end of our 30-day comment period to get these approved and ready for school. If the board will do that, please.
Any questions on this one?
Yeah.
No questions. We're moving down to number C.
Number C. This would be Mr. Gibson.
You're up, Dwayne.
Kind of reading through here. The only thing that changed from that, one of you all had asked us to put a age limit
Mm-hmm.
for the pre-K to third grade parent pickup policy or procedure. So we did put 8 to 12 years old on there. 12 years old good. Whenever that the driver's last Friday and emailed the principals after I talked to the driver, where they can send home the kids. Hopefully we cover all the bases on it.
And that's, drop off and pick up.
Right.
Yeah, if people don't. Okay, any discussions or questions for Mr. Gibson on this one? Okay, D. This is a JROTC application.
Correct. I've asked Ms. Dunlap to bring that in and we've done our survey, which we had overwhelmingly positive results.
I've heard a lot of good things.
So
But this
we're going to get this submitted.
so far, but it's open till Friday and we'll go in Friday. Chrissy, if you pull up and show when the students get online, kind of pops up this little pop-up box.
Yes.
So that rest of their pictures so we can get more student feedback. But this is what we have as of this morning.
Thank you.
And, but currently we only have 10 students that have responded. Yes, and, but if you know, you've got it, they're popped up. And, just kind of text their picture to get their feedback. We didn't ask super specific questions about this. We just wanted to know, what is your interest? Are you willing to support it? I have contacted Major Pickenbaugh, Avery Brace, and Sergeant Smith, and they were really excited to help me because I do not know military language. I want to make sure when I complete the application, you all have a copy of that I answer these questions correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And they were super excited to help me. I have sent these to them to make sure it's not anything before I submit this application on the 15th. And they were very instrumental in getting the program started, things in rows, and they have some contacts in our region. He said that there's a possibility of when you research this, the wait time is like 4 to 10 years. But he said there are some programs that are going to have to close because they don't have instructors, which will open up slots. And he said the shift will happen, and he said it might happen a little sooner for us. So I was a little more excited about that because I thought, geez, we use 4 years, but I got to get our foot in the door before we get to that 4 years. And I want to make sure that all my T's were crossed and I's were dotted. And they were working on it today. They didn't have a chance to get back to me this evening. But he said this is the first step. I looked at 2 or 3 other programs, like for a Navy program, you have to have a minimum of 500 students in the high school before you can apply. So, and the Army's broad. There's the other program that, got it written down here. It's called a, Future Leaders Program, which is through the National Guard, but that's funded by the county. And there's no support, no military support for the equipment. And that's a huge expense when the Army supplies and helps with the salaries. So I want to make sure that when we do this, we are all lined up
And I'm excited that maybe they thought, he said, oh, good, this will come up, will help you. I was talking to Mr. Gibson. I think we have some thoughts in place for where we can have the storage closet, the office for the officers. And so I think we'll have a good plan in place when they give us the thumbs up. Any questions? But I know it's a little bit hard to read all that stuff, and I've read it and read it. And I wanted to make sure my language was correct, so maybe my son's in the National Guard, but I don't know the language. He's a lieutenant, I know that much.
I think as soon as school starts, you're gonna get a lot more interest.
What? We just kind of work together real quick, got the questions out there, and we just wanted to make sure we had some interest and support. We do have to maintain 10% of our student body. They ask for 100 members in the unit, but we obviously can't do that. But they've got more than 10% at East, so I think that with their support, we should be able to grow our program. And I think we've got people that live here in our area that would be interested in possibly being our instructors. So I think we've got a lot of good.
Maddie, excuse me.
Kevin.
Yeah,
He was, because I talked to Lefty, Mr. Smith,
Yeah,
when I first on the board, and he said, anything I can do. But then my previous superintendent said, we don't have enough people.
but the 10% worries me a little bit because when you look at the numbers across the board in our other CTE programs, but they can still do both. Because it can be an elective, it can fall under CTE, which gives it another funding source. I know that when I worked in Greenberg County, I bought supplies for them as well through CTE funds because they were a lot of part of the budget. And it was a good working relationship, and there's a lot of support. Robert Malice from the State Department, you know, when I was speaking information, he said, just let me know whatever I can do to help you. Mr. Money Penny is also the FLP, and he said any support that he could provide, he'd be glad to help. So I've got people out there. I just want to make sure that when I start this journey, I got all the parts on my car.
Mrs. Dunlap has done an outstanding job getting this ready for us, and thank you for all your hard work. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
I just want to say number 5, if you look at number 5, would you support your child participating in the JROTC program? We had an overwhelming 43 yeses, 83% of the people surveyed. So we have community support for this program.
I've heard a lot of stuff from the community already about it. They're excited about it.
People talking about it.
And it's a nice little pay raise if you've been this program when you enlist.
It is, yeah.
I forget the exact amount, it's like what, 150 a month or something extra.
Good for our kids.
Yes.
Any other questions about this?
No.
E, approval of amendment to SBA to include painting of the gymnasium.
So
Like we're gonna vote no on trying to get money.
actually that's on there a little bit, and I think we have Audra Blackburn online, so if she raises her hand, we will unmute her to talk if we can. But really what I wanted to talk to you about today is the deadline to submit an SBA project is September the 15th. So I provided, let me give you a letter here. Here you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Take one and pass it down. So what I have on the top of your packet is our project priority list to submit things to the SBA from our CEFP plan. So the first group is number 1 priority, second group is number 2 priority, and the third group is number 3 priority. And I will be calling on Mr. Gibson to talk a little bit because he knows all those words, the technical words. Okay, so in the first group, you can see that the thing that we haven't done there is a new HVAC project at the high school. And we need HVAC at the high school. In group number 2, we have the Marlington Elementary School electrical upgrades. They cannot get HVAC until they have electrical upgrades. It's this before that kind of thing. And then on group number 3, because we'll have, if we look at those 2 things on group number 3, we will have Marlington Middle School. Mr. Gibson has said we need a new roof for that school. So this is our priority list from our CEFP. And what we are talking about is an energy systems group. And they use a contract called Sourcewell. And Sourcewell is one of those contracts that you can buy and purchase off of. Without having to go through the RFP process. So I called them in, I actually spoke to Ms. Klein about it and I said, we have several projects, you know, somebody that can help us, and she recommended Audra Blackburn. So I asked them to help me with the renovations of the board office, the boiler at Hillsborough, and gas water heaters at electric at Marlton Mill. So she came into that, and then I told her, I said, I would really like to do an SBA project for our school. And in talking to her about working with those things, they can help us with all of these renovations. So I asked her, she's going to be online to talk to us about this letter of intent, what it means and what it details. Barbara, can you hear us? You should be able to unmute now.
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello?
We can hear
Yep.
you.
Oh, good. Hello, everyone. Good evening. The letter of intent I provided to the superintendent basically outlines the work that we would do on behalf of the county. And we would we would do engineering services for, any needs that you have with regard to HVAC, roofing, energy infrastructure, such as those electrical upgrades and any needs that you have. We would bring back the costs of those systems and that kind of thing, and let you know how much that would cost, how much savings would be associated with that, and help you figure out a way to pay for that over time. So that's what the letter of intent says. The letter of intent also says that you intend to move forward with a contract. It's an energy savings performance contract. And if you decided to not do a project, which I know you have a ton of needs, and if you decided not to move forward with the project, you would have an exit fee of $25,000. If you decided to move forward with the contract, the $25,000 would roll into your contract. So you're really never out a penny. You're not going to pay any money to develop this project or to engineer this project to move forward with making improvements to your board office, to those water heaters, to your boiler at Hillsborough Elementary, and all these different items that you need to get done. I also know that you can approach the SBA for funding through an energy savings performance contract as well. There's form, I think it's 210 on the SBA website. Dr. Williams, I just looked it up. So that is a possibility that you can do that through this process as well. But that's what that letter of intent is for. And so it is a comprehensive project where you would look at all of the facilities. I know you have a priority list there, but it would help you figure out a way to pay for it over time through a lease purchase agreement. And we have worked with Mrs. Klein. That was one other thing I wanted to say. We did the Wyoming County Board of Education board office, and 3 phases of work for Wyoming County schools. We did HVAC for their West Side High School and many of their other facilities as well. So we have a lot of experience in the state of West Virginia. We've been working in West Virginia since about 2006. I'll just stop there and see if you guys have any questions or need anything from me.
I guess the question is, and Audra, am I saying her name right? Audra, are we, we spoke this letter of intent in the facility evaluation, you would provide service to help us propose an SBA project.
Correct, but if you don't get SBA funding, the beauty of the process and why people use it is not everyone in the state is going to get SBA funding. I mean, let's hope that you do. I mean, that's really the goal, but it doesn't mean that you can't get your work done. I know that Mrs. Klein had mentioned to you that the lease purchase is a beautiful thing because it gives you the ability to address needs that you have and pay for it over time. So it basically takes money that you have, that you have planned to spend on things, and it helps you buy down your lease purchase agreement to pay for things that you need. And, obviously, without us looking at your facilities and assessing how much these things would cost and how much savings we could gather to put towards that project, I mean, we wouldn't be able to tell you how much that project would cost. So that's really the first step, is to move forward with what we call the investment grade audit of your facilities to determine how much that would cost. How much those projects would cost. And of course, we would help you come up with a budget for your SBA request. And we've actually already started working on it.
When do we pay the $25,000?
Well, you don't actually. If you decided to move forward with a contract to do improvements to your facilities, such as, for instance, let's just say the boiler at Hillsborough, your water heaters, and the infrastructure improvements that you're going to make to your board office, and maybe air conditioning somewhere else, that $25,000 pays for the development and engineering cost to get that project designed and engineered. I mean, that rolls into your contract. You really are not out any funds to move forward with a contract. Basically, what happens is you finance that project through a lease purchase agreement. And let's say that you got local funds, state or federal funds, you can put that towards your lease purchase agreement to pay for your lease purchase agreement over time.
Mr. Gibson, what's your ideas about this?
Maybe we need to move on getting boiler. I don't want us to cost more money in the long run, but we do need to make moves on pretty quickly.
How does this tie in with the Wendell Group that we have the energy saving contract with?
It's two different things before this. I think this is very simple. As far as like it.
And it sounds like you need
Wendell's the energy saving architect on basically.
That's what I was gonna ask, because we did away with that down the hill. We voted to do away with that in Hillsborough because it wasn't saving anything. At the Hillsborough meeting, to get out of that. I don't know what the difference is between that and this.
Ms. Blackburn, do you want to address the difference in your organization and Wendell organization?
Probably need to unmute Ms. Blackwell.
She's done left us.
No, she's talking.
It's still on there.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. I think my computer decided to mute me for some reason. But basically, ESG is a national company. We've completed $4.5 billion worth of these projects. We've been working in West Virginia for since 2006. We've been in this business, and this is all that we do. And we've done this for over 30 years. We've done approximately $1.4 billion worth of these projects in our history, and 40% of our business is K-12 schools. We've done multiple phases of work for over 20 performance contracts in the state of West Virginia, with each one of those being highly successful projects. So I would have to just say all the positives that I can about what we do and how we stand behind our projects. We make sure that your systems are operating properly, and make sure that you are getting the project that you signed on for, and making sure that it's constructed properly and operating properly, and we stand behind that project for the term of the project. And we guarantee no change orders as well. And so there's a lot that we do that differentiates us against several of our competitors. And I mean, that's all I can say positively about us without saying something about someone else. And that's how I'd like to keep it in a public meeting.
So I want to say that the main difference to me is they are part of the Sourcewell contract. We're part of the Sourcewell contract. We needed to bid out architectural and engineering services, and we haven't done that. And if we want to do an SBA project, we either have to skip not doing an SBA or get some help doing it because it's due soon. So that was the reason that I had asked Ms. Klein. I said, we need to be able to do projects. And I don't have time to bid out the architectural services.
Sort of like having an architect for a retainer.
Yes.
We need them, they're there.
So we're gonna pay you $25,000. Now, when do you get more money? If you get a percentage of whatever jobs that we do that you write for us and you get a percentage of that?
Well, the letter of intent basically says that Pocahontas County Board of Education intends to move forward with a contract to do a project, okay? And then it says, if you do not move forward with a project within the 90 days of us completing the investment grade audit, you will pay ESG $25,000 for the work that they have completed. We're going to go and look at all of your schools, all of your energy consuming and possibly losing, devices and that kind of thing, and develop your project for you. That would require engineers to come in, spend time looking at all your facilities to develop this project and bring that back to the Board of Education. You're not going to pay anybody $25,000. You're going to sign,
The work,
actually going to sign a letter of intent that says you intend to move forward with the project because you have a ton of work to do in Pocahontas County and you intend to get some of that work done. And when you do move forward with doing that work, you no longer are held to that exit fee. That's what the letter says.
I got two or three problems here. Number one, I hate to vote on something when I don't know what the total cost of it's going to be. That's the first thing. Because they could come in and I'm not blaming her, but they could come in at $20 million. We don't know what they're gonna look at and say at the end. The other problem I have, being a Board of Education, a public entity, do we have to put this stuff out for bid?
If you're just going with an engineering and an architectural firm, yes. We need a firm on retainer to do that. This particular thing is the Sourcewell contract that they work with, which is a federal contract, which is different.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Policy 8200 allows for certain contracts to be used that are federal contracts. So they're working through the Sourcewell contract and we're part of the Sourcewell contract. It's kind of like the TIPS contract.
It's
But-
cooperative purchasing and, basically this is a letter of intent, okay?
Yeah.
The next step would be moving forward with a contract and ESG has a great reputation in West Virginia. And we would not ever bring anything towards the board that the administration does not support. And basically that would not be financially feasible to the county. So the whole goal is to help you and partner with you to be able to address the needs that you have in your facilities and try to help you figure out a way to pay for those. And, we have a list of references statewide where we have done this with even counties that are under state control and been able to help counties that have very little money to be able to help them address their HVAC needs, their facility needs in their county. So, I mean, that's really all I can say. The one thing I would really like to do is be there in person to be able to give you ESG's presentation from beginning to end and to be able to meet all of you all. But, you know, it is not our goal to try to strap any county with a long-term debt because that's just not something we're looking to do. We're looking to partner with a Board of Education and a school system to make it better and do anything we can do to help you push your money further and be able to address the needs in your county in the best way that we know how.
Any other questions?
She can come on September 16th and present.
You gotta do it to, when's the SBA meeting?
The SBA meeting is September the 15th.
We have submission date for September 12th for the needs project.
September 12th, that's correct.
So you gotta have it prepared by then,
And,
to submit it.
yeah, and she will help me, correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Blackburn, but you will help me get those forms filled out for the initial submission.
Yeah.
So that's, but that's the reason I feel like we needed her. Or we can say we want to table it and
We can't table it because of the SBA stuff. We gotta have something taken from the SBA.
correct.
If
you want to have something, I need some help to do that.
Yeah, and we've always had help doing it. Well, you can, but it won't be as complex. You can do it. I mean, we presented stuff before to the SBA and we just, huh? We've done it and received funds and we did it and hasn't.
And last
But it's
year,
better if you got somebody, an architect or somebody to stand up for you. They read that a lot more than they do a superintendent or a board member, because they've got 3 or 4 architects that they recommend.
so I don't know what I was gonna say.
It's up to the board to put it.
Yes, it's up to the board. But I still will have to, we still have the renovations here that we have to do that we've not done.
Yes, we do, but we want to submit that all at one time. But I don't think they'll give us anything for the board office.
Oh, I know what I was gonna say, that we cannot get anything for the board office, but last year you submitted, Mr. Gibson, the HVAC.
We have HVAC, includes access between academic and CTE. They do windows as part of it. And last year we received nothing. We received zero financing from SBA.
We're gonna have to get on this Bullard Hillsborough, because one of these mornings, we're gonna get up and it's gonna be 32. So that's something that whether we got any money for it or not, we're gonna pay for it to get it done. Now, we can go ahead and submit it, but I think with that Bullard, we need to go ahead and start the ordering process
We're gonna have to, that will
and
come
get
up
that
with
thing in
Sourcewell.
place.
She can help us get that off the Sourcewell. Mr. Gibson met with her person that,
Right, we went down, that's already, we went down last week before, and looked at the boiler. We were back at the high school for a little bit, we stopped and looked at water heaters. Sort of did a tour, not all the schools.
Can we not fix the Bullard that's there? I mean, I forgot to ask that question the last time.
Say that again.
Can the Bullard there not be fixed?
It's got a hole in one of the sections. There's a possibility we could put like a soft leak type material in it. I've talked to, the guy that's one of our suppliers, and, he's been in the boiler system for like 45 years. He said there's a possibility we could do that. And then we'll need to replace the boiler.
But yeah,
If
eventually.
if one section's going bad, we don't know what the next one's gonna be doing.
How long's that Bullard been there?
21 years.
Could Pat soften or weld it?
We talked about that too. I've already talked to Pat. I've sent him some pictures of it. Talking to this gentleman, like I said, one of the contractors. He said maybe if you touch that boiler with a welding rod, you might blow a 1-inch hole in it just like that.
don't know
How
how to
big
do
it
it.
is. Yeah, we've been in the thought process.
I don't even know what the Bullard looks like. I'd like to see that Bullard though. Because I dealt with Bullards forever. Big bullets,
fix it.
400 horsepower Bullard. We didn't buy a new Bullard. They $900,000.
Yeah. Oh.
We fixed them. From the ground
I
up.
got some quotes on this. I'm not gonna announce.
Well, yeah, sure.
Yeah, we do have some quotes and they vary quite a bit from one, high one to a low.
I know the last one, that one come out of Ohio. I know that one. Where it comes from.
The Hillsborough.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when we had to order it. I was on the board,
It was,
Judge Haldane.
We have one quote that's below the sill bid threshold. And then all the other quotes are above the sill bid threshold. My only thing with buying the cheapest product or the lowest price product,
Get what you pay for.
You get what you.
yeah, so if one's 49 and one's 100,
How,
I don't understand.
how many horsepower is that both?
it's not horsepower.
Goes by BTU.
BTUs.
BTUs.
Give me a second, I've got pictures of it. I can't look that right now. See if I can find it.
Take your time, Dwayne. The mayor's waiting on us. He's waited all evening. Well, he's hunting that. I'm gonna take a break.
I'm sorry, I've got cool pictures on my first.
Take your
one. I haven't
time.
even-
We're gonna take
They're
that.
going to a bathroom break.
Breaks.
Shaking hands.
Oh my God.
BTUs on it. It's not on there, it's not on
Hot
that.
metal.
I'll take a picture. for you.
Hot metal.
You know, there's a sign on the, it says boiler room. I almost went there when I did the walkthrough
No.
for the open house, but I was like, oh.
You should have went in and looked at it.
Yeah, spider in there or something.
That's where they keep all the Halloween decorations.
Even all the Halloween critters. Did you find the pictures?
I found the pictures, but it doesn't say what the BTUs were on it.
Do you want to go ahead and send them to Christie? She can pull them up.
What's that?
Email them to Christie.
I can do
You
that.
can pull them up for us, maybe. So we can all look at them together.
I texted Jeff and he thinks it's
This
one
is back to what we're
1.3.
talking about. Is this a year contract that we're doing or 5 year, or 3 year? What kind of? Term limit are we looking at here?
Are you all talking to me right now?
You could answer it.
Yes, sir. Basically, the letter of intent would allow us to go do the investment grade audit and that looking at your facilities, which usually would take us about 3 months' time, and come up and develop a project for you all. And then the construction of the project, once a contract is signed, a real contract for the project, the construction normally takes around 12 months. So you're not really signing a contract for any length of time. You're just intending to move forward with the project. That's all that letter of intent says.
Okay,
And then you move forward, once you move forward with a project, that's when you would sign a contract. And the contract then would line out the scope of work, what is in your project, how much it costs, and how much savings could be put towards the project. And that's when you would determine, if you wanted to do a lease purchase or how you would pay for it. That's kind of how these projects are done. And there's no time limit on it. You could use us at any time. Sourcewell is basically cooperative purchasing. It's already been, bid out. That's why it's allowed for you to use that. And it allows you all to move quickly
are
to
you
get
all,
things done.
will you all supply somebody for clerk of the works and to oversee the quality of it and all that, the installation of whatever projects we do, or is that back on us?
Yes, we supply the project manager. He's already been to your county. He's already looked at the urgent needs and already willing to get this stuff as soon as possibly can be done. And such as the boiler at Hillsborough Elementary, for example. Um, and get things done that you really have to get done quickly, such as the upgrades at your board office that you're under state order to get done. And he's looked at that, and he's looked at also the water heaters that are having a problem right now. And, those are the real urgent needs. And then we would look at, other needs that you have in the county and bring those forward to your team and see what they would be interested in doing. But you're not signing on for any long-term deal or anything like that with ESG. You're just, you would be selecting us through this Sourcewell, which is cooperative purchasing, and it's legal and allows you to do that quickly so that we can help you quickly. And then we can also help you on the long term to determine what things you can get done, how much it costs, and if you can find a way to pay for it within your, financial ability.
All right, thank you.
All right,
Thank
any
you.
other questions? All right, number F is decision and approval of amendment to Stephanie Burns mutual agreement.
Yes, that was in your packet, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
So when I did Stephanie Burns mutual agreement, a federal programs coordinator gets a $2,000 supplement if you're half-time. If you're full-time, I should have doubled that and put that on her mutual agreement. I should have put her $4,000 supplement. Instead, I didn't put anything on there. So she had zero supplement. So Sarah brought it to my attention that her supplement wasn't on there and we needed to rectify that situation for auditing purposes. So I said, I will get on that and get it on the next agenda. So hence, that was my first day on the job, July 1. I just want to say, give me a tiny bit of grace on that day. But we need to amend her mutual agreement to include her supplement, and it was an oversight on my behalf, which will be $4,000 thousand.
All right. Now, we're voting on all of these, so if you want to pull one out, let me know. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Motion carries after all that discussion. Okay. New business. Mornington Mayor Sam Felton Downtown Trail Update and BOE property request. And I'm going to stop right there and I'm going to let the mayor present himself right now. But all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Give me a motion.
So moved.
Yeah.
I'll second it. Okay, now you.
All right, first of all, Dr. Williams and board members, I just want to thank you for this opportunity, first of all, to allow Sarah and I to come present. And Mr. President, how much time do I have? Can I have 10 minutes?
After waiting this long,
Because
Mr. Felton, we'll get, as long as you don't go to preaching, we'll give you 10 minutes.
I'll try.
Look, you do that might be okay too.
Yeah, we might go amen.
Yeah, that might be okay
Because
too.
I could talk about this project for 2 hours without any problem.
Oh,
but
no.
Nonetheless, this will, before I even give you the handouts, to give you an identifier, here's Discovery Junction, okay? Here's the big white Verizon cell tower that you see downtown. Here's basically your lot, okay, right in here. That's adjacent to the Frontier Communications Materials Yard, okay? What we're talking about, let me also say that I've been listening to you guys handle policy and the educational puzzle that you have to put together each day and each month. And, I'm tasked with administrative and economic also puzzle pieces to put together. And economic development is difficult enough in any place.
But when you're in floodplain, it has a whole other layer of complications and so forth to it. And part of the way that I started down this road to begin with, even with Discovery Junction, and now with this project that we're proposing, is projects that could be built in the floodplain. Technically, we're talking about a farmer's market and so forth at Discovery Junction. Over here, we're talking about parking, okay? But they each have economic components to it, okay? And that's the thing that I want the board to consider. And I don't expect you to absorb in all of this evening, but maybe for the final decisions afterward, this may help with some of your questions. It may actually prompt some questions. I don't know. But give one for Sam here as well. Sam, you probably are interested as well. And I just wanted to say that before Sarah does her part, by the way, Sarah Cottingham has, we first met through the Law Enforcement Towns program. She done some grant writing for us then, and now Sarah works independently, contracted still with law enforcement and also with the town on this project. Up to her eyeballs in the Monday Lick Trail. I don't know how many's familiar with that. Monday Lick Trail project, 27-mile project that ended up being the first recreation construction project that ARC had ever funded. And WVU has projected about $45 million, I think, in bringing to the area and so forth over the next few years. So having said all of that, I want you to keep in mind, you have this piece of property downtown that its basic usage has been, it's what we call the old bus lot. I've mentioned that in your handout. And it's basically used for student parking. And when I came 3 years ago to talk to the board, and I should have said that first, I went away with the sense that it had been received by the board at that time. The Board of Education's attorney drew up an agreement, a memorandum of understanding. We talked about 50 years. It came to me with a 25-year contract or figure on it. And when Sarah called about 2 weeks ago, the eligibility has changed. We were always concerned about the 25 years, but now that just doesn't work. They want us to have the property outright to remain eligible for this power grant that she is working on. So when she called and told me this eligibility requirement had changed, I called the office here first, and Sherry Ratliff was here. I knew that Sherry was familiar with some of that previous conversation. And she said, well, why I couldn't find my copy was I had read it, I had signed it, returned it. Okay. You know how it is. I go on to other projects and I never really thought much more about it until Sarah called. I got to looking for my copy and I didn't have a completed copy. So when I called back, and maybe it's a good thing now because I didn't lock into a 25-year agreement. It's not going to hedge. So here we are, and there, I think it's your turn. Okay.
Well, good evening, everybody. As Mayor Felton said, I'm Sarah Cottingham. I'm the grant writer for the town of Marvin and the other 11 lawn forest towns. And job is to tell you a little bit about the grant proposal that we have picking up. All right, so the town, Marlton, is hoping to apply this round, this October, for $2 million from the Appalachian Regional Commission's Power Initiative to build this downtown trailhead. This project has been in the works for several years, basically since we got the funding to build the 28-mile Monday Lick trails 3 years ago. through the same pot of ARC money. As soon as we got that awarded, we said, okay, now we've got, that's step one. Step two is building the trailhead where all of those visitors, WVU projects 16,000 mountain bikers, gonna be coming through town. And that's where they're gonna land. That's gonna be their first introduction to Arlington and to this region. So the town will be the applicant. It's not just, when you say trailhead, this is a destination level attraction. These trails are part of the Snowshoe Highlands Ride Center, and they were built specifically to help Snowshoe get this gold level status, which the International Mountain Bike Association awards very few of them, and Snowshoe's what they call a silver level right now. And it said, build these trails and you will become gold, one of 7 in the entire world.
The only one that needs.
So it's a big deal regional economic development project. We're so proud that ARC, like Mayor said, they had never funded trails. This grant is an economic development grant. So, you know, they'll go for trails and trailheads, but only if you can make the case that this is gonna make a difference in your rural town, rural region like this, which is this project does. It's all about helping local businesses downtown, bringing more people downtown. You've got people already coming from all over the country. Just this morning, I met people from Oklahoma, North Carolina, Florida, Virginia, and San Diego, California, riding bikes. Today on a Tuesday, the Greenbrier River Trail, which this is gonna serve, is one of the top 10 rail trails in the entire country. So this is a big deal, even stuff. So it's a very competitive grant program, but we've been laying the groundwork for several years now. Through Ryan Montfort's Town's hat, we got the money to hire a firm out of North Carolina to do the concept planning, to say, okay, we know we need a downtown trailhead. What could that be? What does it need to look like? They designed this very fancy, elaborate, local piece. We then raised the money to hire for the town to procure the Gratiot group. They've done the preliminary engineering. We've, gone through this multi-year process, and now we're ready to apply. We've got Snowshoe all on board to support this. Region 4 Planning Development Council on board to administer the grants. So we've been waiting all year for ARC to announce they're ready for the grant window to open. We're there. And like Mayor said, they got a new requirement this year. I've written a lot of successful power grants, and new provision this year is that they are only going to award applicants who own the land outright. If you're gonna build, they expect you to own it. So therein, that is our reason for being here tonight.
And maybe I could jump in there and also say that if this transfer is made possible, we certainly hope that you see the benefit for the area, economically and otherwise. If there's a stipulation, for instance, with regard to it must remain open to your student parking and so forth, the way it does in the past, I don't think there's going to be any issue with that, because keep in mind, you have a parking lot now. And for the most part, what we're talking about is going to improve and expand upon your parking lot. We could do this project with the land that is left, but we can't do as much as we want to unless we include your lot. And so that's basically what we're talking about. So
It's,
any question?
our students could use it to park there.
Absolutely, yes.
Now, the problem I have, mayors change, like Board of Education mayors change.
Sure.
Members change.
Yeah.
What happens? Would that be put in that memorandum of understanding to where
It could be written.
somehow written up by our attorneys.
It could be written into the title itself.
So it'd have to be in the deed,
That it
that way.
is
Oh, yeah,
renamed.
footnote on the deed.
Yeah.
To do that, because, we change.
Sure, I understand. That's right.
And down the road, a board member will call
As a
me.
matter of fact, with someone might change in the next 24 months. As far as that.
Well, we don't know that. We don't know
But that's
exactly.
why I'm here too, because this is kind of the icing, I say, on the Monday lit cake, so to speak.
Now, what if we go through all this and we deed the property over to you and then you don't get the grant?
Well, we'll be trying again next year, that's for sure. You know how that works. That if something does happen, that we are denied the grant, because unfortunately, I thought about that. I didn't want to think much about it. Because,
What happened?
it's a big part of what we're trying to do right now.
That could also be written up in the deed where if
Yes,
they don't
If
get
they
it,
don't get it,
it reverts back to us.
Yeah.
If we decide to do it. I mean, that's up.
That's up to,
Yeah.
any,
That's my only concern. I mean, if we knew for sure it was a done deal, we should write your deed tonight.
Well,
But
and
if it does,
Yeah.
5 or 6 years down the road, if it still hasn't happened,
It would be perfectly acceptable for the purpose of the application to have a letter from the board that said exactly what you said. Should this be awarded, then.
I don't know.
Like that.
and in reality, the land is not much good to us, being in the floodplain, sitting next to the telephone company.
And already, I hope you understand that, we're already taking care of your lot.
You are.
We graded, we put gravel there. If we could go online, and I've got a camera that shines on your parking lot right now. It helps monitor activity there. That's something.
we need to see that camera.
You might wanna put the new one back there.
Maybe we want to see that.
It's lit, we've, a couple of new signs are already there, and that's also the purpose of this destination downtown, Burlington Trailhead, is that it's not just parking, it's spatial parking. It'll be a place for kiosk and information for tourists that's coming to the area for the first time.
Any chance we get you to throw a swimming pool in there?
Well, I've been asking about that too. But I don't know.
You know what stops swimming pools in West Virginia?
Liability for one.
Liability insurance.
Yeah, that's the biggest. So the next best thing was the splash pad.
There you go.
We ended up with that.
This, years ago, Miss Mary Moore, the new restaurant up on the hill, me and her talked about going together and putting in a swimming pool, but she ain't lane. You can't afford to do that.
Well, the liability.
The liability insurance, wow.
Well, I'm just throwing this out. Can you verify with your grant, wherever you're getting your grant, that if we give you a letter stating what we talked about, that would let you all go forward, or do you have to have the actual deed before you can go forward?
So
Deed would be better.
it
The
would be
letter
better, but
would
at the time of
suffice.
application, a letter really is golden in terms of, from the partner that spells all this out. Based on I've never had one of these grants with this particular case, but typically that's how we do all the documentation. Where there's a match partner, we just say, yes, this is the condition. If you award this grant, then entity X will provide $1 million match. And that's all they need at the application stage. So.
If you could check, personally, I have no problem as long as our students can use it. And that if something happens that you all don't get your grant money and all this and it's not built, it goes back to Board of Education. That's my.
But I can put that question to ARC. They're usually very responsive.
Dr. Williams said you got.
And if
Yeah,
they
but
want you to own it, we could do an agreement that if it doesn't happen, you would deed it back to.
Reverts back. We
Yeah,
can do a letter to start with and then
I would ask for a little bit of grace period on that also, 3 to 5 years, because
Yeah.
like I said, if for whatever reason we did not receive this year, I'd want to turn around and
we can't,
and submit it next
we
time.
can't do it longer than our longest board member.
So I do have one comment that we have to check into.
Okay.
Default
So
be the
the
one.
legality of having
No.
or permitting students to park on non-school property.
He's only got 2 years. So he might-
Right.
Never thought of that.
And
Short term.
we do have brim that covers if there's accidents or stuff on non-school property. So let's say the students were on your property, they had a fight, something happened. How does that brim insurance, how are we insuring our students being over there? Does that make sense? So we probably need to ask our attorney just about that portion.
Well, I think in the end, that you'll find out is that you're, transferring your present liability to the town's liability.
That's what I was thinking.
And we use Brim as well.
Yeah.
So
Free.
I do, I appreciate the comment. I didn't think that would end up being
Yeah, this 25.
with liability problem in the end, because we're taking up that liability for the cheerleading at all.
But you can check it
And our
out.
students won't take 17 left there, that's all I can handle it.
Well, they don't work as much there as they used to, it seems like. I've noticed that.
Well, they all.
They're on a lot on the weekend more than they're parking during the week.
Now, if we go ahead and give you this letter or whatever, are you gonna go ahead and pay that now for us?
Not unless I get my money.
I'm trying to get what I can.
All right, let's,
Okay.
let's break this down a little bit. We can only go 3 years on a letter, I think, because we can't go any longer than our longest board member,
Right.
Yes, you cannot end that or make decisions for
the next board.
the next board. That is
So that would be, 26, 27,
So
28.
you said come back 3 years.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, I
That's the new-
don't mind.
Yeah.
Do I have a motion to give him a letter on what we talked about? Saying that if they get the grant, we will deed that over. And it will also say it don't have to say this in the letter, but it will say this in the deed that our students have the opportunity to use that lot,
Yes.
at least during school.
I do have to.
If there's any caveats that Jason needs to put in there because of
Yeah,
our students.
Yeah, and we can have Jason. fix
Yes,
it.
we will have.
But,
And also this conversation will be included in your minutes, I guess.
it will be, it will be. So do I have a motion for that effect?
So moved.
All right. Mr. McCombs made the motion. Do I have a second? Dr. Hollingsworth second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Mayor Felton, you got your letter. Will you?
I
please-
appreciate it.
You need your grant.
Yeah. Dr. Williams, will you see that that letter is put up by Jason so we can?
Well, I will take care of
Thank you
that.
very much.
Check.
All right.
That's good.
And I wanted to stop there for a second because I wanted to,
Thank you especially for
Thank
waiting.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry you had to wait so long.
Process.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, B, permission to post special education compliance assistance through SESC to be paid for from the special education fund.
So move.
Well, I'm just gonna read them off. Is that
We're just
okay?
gonna read them all.
Yeah, permission to post, well, where am I at? Permission to post special education consultant services through SEC to be paid for from the special education fund. Is that on there twice?
It should have said one should be compliance officer and then the other one should be.
Okay, that's what it is. Permission to post a countywide counselor and supervisor of comprehensive counseling services. D is decision or possible action on a letter of intent emergency service group, Pocahontas County Schools. We jumped,
The one was struck out.
E was struck out.
He was struck out. D, we just talked about for some reason.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we done talked about, E. F is decision and action to convert $1 coaching position for Mornington middle school football to be a paid assistant coach position, $1,100. G is approval of attached fundraiser. H is discussion and decision on work session to establish board goals and superintendent goals for the 25-26 school year. Any questions on any of these?
F,
Yes, ma'am.
if we give Marlington Middle School football coach 1,100, does Green Bay have?
That Mornington middle school football is Pocahontas County middle school football. They all go together.
They all go there.
That's where
They
we
go to the high school.
Budget, we have two, a
That's
head
fine.
coach for the Green Bank and a head coach for Marlington Middle, and assistant coach for each of them. In the past, they've combined teams
Yes.
and they have one head coach and then they had a volunteer coach, which converted to $1 coach. But after I started thinking about it, they should have a paid because technically we're
That's
saving
fine.
3 salaries.
I don't have that.
Well, see, the athletic director, one of the assistant coaches went to athletic director. Well, he can't draw a coach's salary and a athletic director's salary. So that freed up one coaching position. Any other questions on any of these? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Board members' remarks. Mr. McCombs, you're up first tonight. Sam's not here.
I'm just excited. Things is happening. A lot of positive comments about the training. A lot of positive comments from staff and parents about Miss Williams, Dr. Williams. That's all I got.
Dr. Hollingsworth?
Well, I think I shared this with Dr. Williams, but I've been going to the first day of school for over 40 years. And I have to say, this was the first one that I felt invigorated by. You know, usually it's like, especially when we sat in the gym bleachers,
Oh,
but great job.
Thank you.
Mr. McNabb?
I'd just like to reiterate what the other two members have said, and just looking forward to the first day of school in a new year and a new beginning, and we're all gonna work together and make it work. And thank you,
Stronger together.
stronger together.
Yeah.
I was at the orientation, I guess we'll call it, the first day. The guy that spoke there, and I don't remember his name.
Very bad.
I'm telling you, if you wasn't energized after listening to him, there wasn't much of a way to be energized. And, you know, because he done an outstanding job, not only of speaking of motivation, but getting people involved with what he was saying. And I really enjoyed it. I'm really glad I was there and I really enjoyed it. And I'm glad you knew him, so you're the one that brought him in. Now, I didn't stay for the afternoon, but they said it was just as good. I think our educators around the county, and this goes back to what you said, they're enthused. They have a pathway now. And they have somebody that's going to give them direction and supervision. And if they call, they can get an answer. And I think that's what we've needed all along. And I think you're doing a terrific job. Just keep it up and don't burn yourself out on it for a long time.
As long as we fix the telephone system,
Yeah.
Yes.
so that people, when they call, they'll know which button to push, you know.
Same for me.
All right.
I did have comments from Mr. Gibson.
Go ahead.
He said, so I'm just gonna read what he wanted for his board comment. So happy that school is starting again. Want to give an extra thanks to the custodial maintenance staff for working hard lately. Mrs. Williams' list was extensive and you got most of the things done. So congratulations. Several folks have been asking about the county attendance policy. Are we updating, with recent legislative changes? Let's please step up that attempt, but do you wanna?
We were actually talking about this morning, and we haven't been given guidance from the state yet with the most recent legislative updates, but we're awaiting that. As soon as we get that, we'll have that for you all to approve for you. But
He said, and then his final thought was, that he loves dogs, but he has recently noticed parents and spectators bringing dogs to sporting events, and I must say, I'm guilty for loving on a dog at the sporting event. He's worried about dog fights and wants to know what that policy is about bringing pets to, sporting events. And I will have to look and see, because I don't know if we have a policy.
Get into a lot of stuff with that because you got therapy dogs. And
We
all
used to have a
kinds.
policy that you could. Cause I remember being an issue at the high school or they told me there was a policy.
Mr. Young used to bring his 2 big golden retrievers to every football game at the high school. You know, they listened, but he used to bring.
Not all of them.
Joe Janice brought a horse.
He was masking. He rode a horse.
Rode the horse. But, yeah, we might have to look into that. We might have some.
Thank you all.
We're done. Any other questions or discussions?
Good to see you,
I
Sam.
will say that, Dr. Williams and Mr. McCombs and myself will be heading to Charleston Friday. She hasn't told us what time we're leaving yet, Morgan, so I can't tell you. And we are hereby adjourned.